Hello students, today we are going to discuss about information processing. In your previous class, you have learned about the different theories on instructional design such as behaviorism, cognitive theories and constructivism. Today we are going to discuss about another theory called information processing theory. Information processing is a part of cognitive psychology. It attempts to describe how sensory input is perceived, transformed, reduced, elaborated, stored, retrieved and used. In information processing model, learning is defined as a process of acquiring new information. Now let us explain the basic assumptions of information processing. First one, information is made available by the environment and is processed by a series of processing systems. Second one, these processing systems transform or alter the information in systematic way. Third one, the primary goal of a research task that deliver into information processing is to determine why processes and brain structures are behind cognitive performance. Fourth one, information processing is humans' resemblance that in computers. Okay, then we will discuss the different types of information processing theories. The first theory that we have to discuss here is the memory model by Atkinson and Shiffrin in the year 1968. This figure is the structural representation of memory model. From the figure, it is clear that human memory has three separate components: sensory memory, short-term memory and long-term memory. Sensory memory is activated when an environmental stimulus is detected by the senses. It is actually composed of multiple registers for each sense. Information is transferred to the short-term memory when attention is given to it. Otherwise, it decays rapidly. The information that is transferred to short-term memory decays and lost when the information is not being actively rehearsed. The long-term memory is a permanent one. The information stored in the short-term memory is copied and transferred to long-term memory when it is duly rehearsed. Next, we shall discuss the theory about levels of processing model by Craig and Lockhart in the year 1972. It was basically believed that the depth of mental processing affected mental function. Memories that were deeply processed led to long-lasting memories, while shallow processing led to memories that decayed easily. Let's see the structural representation of this theory. This model explains two types of processing: shallow processing and deep processing. Shallow processing occurs in four ways. First one, structural, process how an object or sound looks. Second one is phonemic, process how something sounds. Third one is graphemic, process letters contained in a word. Fourth one is orthographic, process the shape of something. Deep or semantic processing occurs in three ways. First one, the process of relating an object or situation to something else. Second one is when the meaning of something is thought of. And the third one is when we process the importance of something. The next theory is dual coding theory by Pavio, 1986. The dual coding theory attempts to give equal weightage to verbal and non-verbal processing. The theory explains that there are two cognitive subsystems, one for the processing of non-verbal objects and the other for the dealing with languages. This figure gives the structural representation of dual coding theory. From this figure, it is clear that there are two types of representational units: imagines for mental images and logogens for verbal entities. Based on this theory, there are three types of processing. First one is representational, direct activation of verbal or non-verbal representation. Second one is referential, the activation of the verbal system by the non-verbal system. Third one is associative, activation of representations within the same verbal or non-verbal system. The next theory is schema theory by Rumelhart and Norman in the year 1976. Schema theory suggested that a schema is a data structure for representing generic concepts stored in memory. Particular information is encoded within the memory system when constants are substituted for the variables of a general schema. According to this theory, learning is not a unitary process. It proposed three modes of learning. The three modes of learning are: first one is accretion, second one is tuning, and the third one is restructuring. Let's discuss each mode one by one. The first mode is accretion. It refers to the normal kind of fact learning or daily accumulation of information. Learning by accretion means learning by adding new data structures to the existing database of memory. Second mode is tuning. When the discrepancy between incoming information and existing schemata is mild, tuning comes into play. It is the process of changing the existing schemata with the development of new ones. Tuning can be done in four different ways. First one is improving the accuracy, second one is generalizing the applicability, third one is specializing the applicability, and fourth is determining the default values. The third mode of learning is restructuring. It refers to the creation of a new schema through either building a new schemata based on an existing schema or building a new schema by combining recurring patterns of existing schemata. The fifth information processing theory is cognitive load theory by Sweller in the year 1988. The term used in this theory is cognitive load. It refers to the effort being used in the working memory. There are three types of cognitive load: intrinsic, extraneous, and germane. Intrinsic cognitive load is the inherent level of difficulty associated with a specific instructional topic. Extraneous cognitive load is an ineffective load that is imposed by information and activities that do not contribute to the process of schema construction. Germane cognitive load is the processing of construction and automation of schema. The structural representation of cognitive load theory is given in the figure. The last theory that we discuss is the social information processing theory by Crick and Dodge of 1996. This theory suggests that all individuals go through some sequential steps, and these steps are given in the figure. These steps are: first one, encoding of external and internal cues, second one, making mental representation of cues, third one, selecting or accessing responses, fourth one, generating responses, fifth one, evaluating responses, sixth one is enacting responses. Social information processing mechanism deals with specific links among environment, cognition, and behavioral outcomes. It serves as a cognitive mediator of the association between environmental risk factors and subsequent behavioral outcomes. Dear students, I think you all have a clear idea about information processing theory. Congratulations to all of you. Thank you.